is 4:57 on this Thursday. Make it a great day. A second arrest made in the death of Frankie Gonzalez, why the 2-year-old's father is now facing charges. Plus 25 News speaking exclusively with the brother of Michael Dean, what he's saying about the charges faced by the officer who shot and killed Michael. And Central Texas and the Brazos Valley seeing a spike in COVID-19 cases. Olivia Leveda spoke to officials to get answers why. It is Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Good Morning Texas starts right now. We are continuing to follow a developing story you first saw as breaking news at 10 last night. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Joe Gum. A second person arrested in the death of little 2-year-old Frankie Gonzalez, the toddler whose body was found in a dumpster 2 weeks ago. Police have arrested Lorenzo Gonzalez, Frankie's father, for abandoning and endangering a child. That's a second-degree felony. Records show Lorenzo had signed an official agreement stating he would not leave the children unsupervised with Frankie's mother. But Waco PD says the father did just that, intentionally leaving the kids alone with Laura Sanchez in violation of that agreement. At the beginning of the month, Waco police received a call regarding a missing child. Laura Sanchez told officers her 2-year-old son, Frankie, went missing in Cameron Park. On June 2nd, another family member contacted police saying Sanchez had confessed. Officers questioned Sanchez, who told them Frankie was dead in a dumpster. That's where authorities found Frankie's body wrapped in several trash bags. All right, switching gears here. Caught on camera, a brutal beating outside a convenience store in the Houston area. Authorities now searching for the suspects. We want to warn you, this video might be disturbing. The assault took place Sunday in the Klein area and started as a dispute inside the store. Words were exchanged. The victim says the group mocked his hair and clothing. He says he paid and left. And when the group approached him outside, he just took the beating. 6 kicks to the head from 5 people in all.
I really hope they're caught before someone else gets hurt. And I hope that the people take this and, you know, they don't say, oh, well, it's white against black. I don't want that to be the statement. I want it to be, you know, here is a man who is checking out, who stood up for himself, and he was targeted for that. The
Harris County Sheriff's Office is asking the public to call Crime Stoppers with tips about who they are so they can be accountable. Well, we now turn to the continued calls for justice in the case of Michael Dean, an unarmed black man shot and killed by a Temple police officer. That now former officer, Carmen DeCruz, faces charges of second-degree manslaughter. On Wednesday, Michael Dean's brother spoke exclusively to 25 News, saying DeCruz got off the hook way too easily.
I think that Carmen DeCruz charge should be upgraded, though. That's my main concern right now, because manslaughter is just like a slap on the wrist. You do the crime, but you don't do the time.
DeCruz resigned from the Temple Police Department following his arrest in February. Well, Senate Republicans, meanwhile, revealing police reform proposals on Wednesday. So what's the difference between these proposals and what Democrats are calling for? Joe St. George breaks it down.
Something strange is happening here on Capitol Hill. Both Democrats and Republicans want to get something done when it comes to police reform. Both want to address police chokeholds and use of force. But the details, well, that's where the politics is beginning to emerge. So what's the difference? Well, on police chokeholds, Democrats want an outright ban. Meanwhile, Republicans want to incentivize a ban by taking away grants to police departments who don't comply. On no-knock warrants, Democrats want them banned in drug cases nationwide. Republicans, they want to study the issue. On new police funding, Democrats say no new funding. Republicans, more funding for training. And on qualified immunity, which currently prevents officers from being sued, Democrats want to end the practice. Republicans say keep it. Now, there is some agreement in that both parties want to make lynching a federal hate crime and more body cameras, but there are nuances, and those nuances are why passing a comprehensive police reform law is going to be tricky. Expect votes, though, as early as next week. On Capitol Hill, I'm Joe St. George.
Texas A&M students continuing to voice their concerns about racism to the university, and it seems to be working. The university released a statement announcing a race relations task force, but current students, including A&M athletes, want more.
We're happy that President Young, he sort of does listen to our concerns and he always responds to them. But then also our biggest concern is that sometimes the steps that he offers isn't kind of isn't bold enough.
According to the Austin American-Statesman, students have been publicly sharing their experiences with racism on campus using the hashtag racism at TAMU. Feels like the university was not available for comment regarding that hashtag. As Texas A&M University pushes for more diversity in the student body, we were curious to look at the faculty and staff itself. Here's a breakdown. African Americans and Asian staff each make up just over 7% of the 7,300 positions. Hispanic staff members are at 15%, and white staff members hold the majority of positions at 66%. Well, time now is 5:05. Let's check in once again with meteorologist Jordan Evans on today's forecast. How's it looking out there?
Oh, it's looking like another steamy day across central Texas. More heat, more humidity, more sunshine as well. Temperatures to start the morning, we're actually falling just a little bit since it's still dark outside. 69 for Waco, 68 for Groesbeck, and 69 for Temple, and 71 for Killeen right now. And dew points are still maintaining in the mid-60s, so if this will continue to probably be a little bit more muggy as we start the morning. But as we get temperatures back up this morning, we'll start to see that humidity go down just a little bit. Visibility, nothing in the way of fog, maybe a little bit of patchiness out near I-45 or near San Saba, but for the most part, we're all clear across central Texas. Radar is going to stay pretty clear as well as high pressure continues to stay in control. But as we take you through Future Track, a map that we haven't shown you all week just because it's been nothing but sunshine, we'll actually get a few clouds maybe to the west of I-45 this afternoon, but notice out to the west during the overnight hours, such near San Saba, there could be a dying complex that comes out of Oklahoma during the overnight hours, and that might clip San Saba or Goldthwaite later this evening. But I think most of us here will continue to stay dry through today, tomorrow, and probably even through Saturday as well. So temperatures back into the 90s just after the lunch hour, and we'll keep dew points in the low 60s, so just a little bit more humid than yesterday, which is why we'll take the muggy meter back into the sticky category once again this afternoon. Talking high temperatures, 94 for Waco, 95 for Bryan College Station, 92 for Centerville, Fairfield, and 93 for Temple and Killeen. Feels like temperatures a little bit warmer thanks to that extra humidity. Feeling like 97 for Bryan College Station, Caldwell, and Waco this afternoon. So this continues into your Friday. We'll get that slight chance there in the morning for our western counties, but then we dry things out again. For your Saturday, humidity really starts to crank in here. In fact, dew points probably getting back into the 70s, so it will start to feel pretty oppressive as we get into that weekend forecast. But the good news is temperatures stay in the mid-90s and storm chances are coming back for all of central Texas. So we'll talk about those details in just minutes.
Turning now to your health news. Our coverage continues this morning on the changing of telehealth mental health coverage across Texas by multiple insurance providers. The changes come after COVID-19 addendums were put into effect. 25 News reporter Aaron Heff joins us now with the new guidelines proposed by Texas Health and Human Services. Good morning, Aaron. What did you find out?
Good morning, Joe. Yes, the drafted policy open to the public is considered narrow by many mental health professionals, and they are saying that they're going to be making their voices heard. Now, Executive Director of the Texas Counseling Association, Jan Fries, explained the association will be posting an action alert. This comes as the Texas Health and Human Services Commission has posted new rules regarding telehealth that the Counseling Association wishes were more inclusive.
The way the rules are posted right now, we find them to be very restrictive as opposed to expansive. So again, reach out, if you're a mental health provider, reach out to your professional association to get more information about how you can submit comments on those rules, and then also how you can engage in communication with the governor and the Texas Department of Insurance.
Now, in the coming days, that action alert will be published, but in the meantime, both professionals and the public can read the draft in a link in this article on 25news.com. For now, live in Waco, Aaron Heff, 25 News.
Aaron, thank you for that update. Shocking figures in the meantime across central Texas and the Brazos Valley. Brazos County announcing 145 new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday alone. In Bell County, 2 more deaths reported this week, and McLennan County also seeing a sharp uptick in cases. The big question, why? 25 News reporter Olivia Leveda tracked down some answers.
Officials say with the surge in numbers, social distancing and practicing those hand hygiene measures are now more important than ever. Just over 1,000 positive COVID-19 cases, 493 recoveries, and a total of 25 deaths, all in Brazos County.
This literally is a life and death situation, and we need to be looking out for one another.
People can't help but ask, what are officials doing about the uptick? Brazos County Alternate Health Authority, Dr. Seth Sullivan, says it takes educating the community and a lot of planning.
About resources that we need or that we anticipate that we'll need with respect to testing, with respect to personal protective equipment.
As for surrounding areas, Waco Mayor Kyle Deaver says the curve has remained flat in McLennan County up until now.
The data clearly shows that we are losing the advantage that we have built.
The number of McLennan County confirmed cases now at 222, with 86 active cases. Dr. Mike Harden says preventing further spread of the coronavirus is now more important than ever.
We need to physically distance, need to wash our hands, avoid touching your face, cover your mouth when you're coughing or sneezing, and importantly, when you are out in public or can't physically distance, wear a mask.
Dr. Amanda Robison Chadwell with the Bell County Public Health District confirmed 658 total cases. As for how she's responding to the increase,
making sure we educate, and we're trying to do our best to stay ahead of it. So we called in some additional reinforcements to help us keep ahead of the caseload.
Officials urge everyone to continue following those basic preventative measures. Wash your hands often, avoid touching your face, and also avoid close contact with people who are sick. Olivia Leveda, 25 News.
Olivia, thank you. So far, none of our local counties say they are looking to require businesses to enforce wearing face masks, something that is now happening in other parts of the state, like Bexar County. In the meantime, Olivia showed us the latest available numbers for 3 of the largest counties. Let's take a look now at the latest numbers for the rest of our area. Coryell County is reporting 38 active cases. Limestone County is reporting 15, Milam 14, and Robertson County reporting 10 active cases. Currently, there are more than 2,400 confirmed cases across Central Texas and the Brazos Valley. More than 1,000 of those are active. Across Texas, there are more than 31,000 active cases of COVID-19. Across the U.S., there are more than 1.4 million, and globally, there are more than 3.8 million active cases. Well, mobile COVID-19 testing coming to Killeen. We'll show you where. Plus, Waco's Metropolitan Planning Organization set to meet today. Sierra Shipley joins us with the changes it's seeing in driving patterns since the start of the pandemic. Time now is 5:12, and you're watching Good Morning Texas. The Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization is seeing a change in driving patterns due to COVID-19. 25 News reporter Sierra Shipley joins us live now to talk about what information they've gathered and how that will help them in the future. Good morning, Sierra.
Hey, good morning, Joe. They measured 3 important factors: a social distancing index, percent of people staying at home, and miles traveled per person. Between the months of March and May, miles traveled per person dropped by 43%. On average, we were only traveling 22.8 miles per person then. And tracking things like this is important for them because it helps with future projects and traveling plans for the city of Waco. Although people were traveling less, Chris Sevilla, the director of the Waco MPO, says there were more cases of speeding in the area.
And a lot more crashes involving speed. And of course, speed, the faster you go, if you get in trouble, the results are a lot more severe. So that was a concern to us.
Another important thing to note is toward the middle of April, travel started to pick back up, even though businesses were still closed at the time. And travel continued to rise until the beginning of this month when it started to slow back down. The Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization is having a meeting today at 2 p.m. It will be held via conference call, and instructions on how to dial in will be on our website. So if you have questions and you would like to submit them, you have to do so before 10 this morning. Questions can be sent to mpo@wacotx.gov or by calling 254-750-5650. Now, in their meeting, they'll be discussing more on their data and the impacts of COVID-19. They'll also work toward improving a few resolutions regarding their transportation plan. Live in Waco, Sierra Shipley, 25 News.
All right, Sierra, thank you. The Waco Transit System is honoring our public transportation heroes today. Waco Transit is asking everyone to simultaneously sound the horn and honk your horns at 2 p.m. to show your appreciation. It's a way to say thank you and to recognize those who have worked hard to get us from point A to point B through this pandemic. Well, happening this weekend in Killeen, the city is hosting 2 mobile COVID testing sites. Testing is free but limited. The sites will be open from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Tomorrow's testing will be at the Jackson Professional Learning Center, and Saturdays will be at the First Church of God in Christ. The addresses for both are listed on your screen. To make an appointment, you can call 512-883-2400 or visit txcovidtest.org. Well, the fallout continues following the shooting death of Rayshard Brooks. Officials in Atlanta announcing charges in the case. Time now is 5:18. You're watching Good Morning Texas. Charges are now to the shooting death of Rayshard Brooks, a former Atlanta police officer charged with the killing, prompting some officers to call out sick in protest yesterday. Here's ABC's Megan Tevrizian.
Prosecutors in Atlanta have announced that 2 officers are being charged in connection with the death of Rayshard Brooks. Former officer Garrett Rolfe faces 11 charges, including felony murder, which carries a possible life sentence or the death penalty. Police body and dash cam footage shows Brooks refusing arrest after police say he failed a sobriety test. Brooks taking one of the officer's tasers, reaching back and pointing the taser at the officer when Rolfe fires.
The city of Atlanta says you cannot even fire a taser at someone who's running away. So you certainly can't fire a gun, a handgun, at someone who is running away.
In a statement, Rolfe's lawyer says his client heard a sound like a gunshot and saw a flash in front of him. Fearing for his safety and the safety of the civilians around him, Officer Rolfe dropped his taser and fired his service weapon at the only portion of Mr. Brooks that presented to him, Mr. Brooks' back. The other officer, Devin Brosnan, is charged with aggravated assault, even though his attorney says he never pulled out a gun. The prosecutor says these photos influence his decision. They show Rolfe kicking the man. Brosnan's attorney calls the charges irrational, and he's disputing the district attorney's claim that Brosnan has agreed to testify against Rolfe. Meanwhile, other Atlanta police officers are now calling out sick in protest. Atlanta police telling ABC News overnight the department is experiencing a higher than usual number of callouts with the incoming shift. In the meantime, Brooks' family says the charges announced Wednesday are a good starting point.
This isn't like a celebration or a victory lap of watching these officers get charged. Nobody's happy, nobody's celebrating because this never should have happened.
The DA says his office interviewed 10 witnesses and watched 8 videos of the Rayshard Brooks shooting, including surveillance, body camera, and cell phone video. Megan Tevrizian, ABC News, San Diego.
Time now is 5:24. Let's get another check on your First Alert 25 forecast with meteorologist Jordan Evans.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Central Texas. Taking a live look outside in the Extraco Eagle Eye camera in downtown Waco. Looks like the moon is in, what do they call that, crescent shape? I'm not really sure what that shape is, but there it is there on the camera, and we begin to see the sun start to come up here. As we start the morning, we'll get full sunshine here in about the next hour, but temperatures start the morning 69 for Temple and 68 in Mexia, so they are dropping just a little bit still since it's still dark outside. And as we talk dew points, they're still in the mid-60s, so if some of these temperatures can cool down to near these dew points, we might start to see a little bit of fog form, but I think the visibility map is going to stay pretty clear for us throughout the rest of the morning, and so is radar as high pressure continues to stay in control. Although Future Track, a map we haven't shown you all week just because it's been sunny and dry, we are going to show it to you today because we've got a few afternoon clouds possible to the west of I-35 later this afternoon, but the bigger story would be this complex that will continue to die out of Oklahoma during the overnight hours, and it may clip our far western counties such as Goldthwaite or San Saba. So if that happens, just keep that in mind. light in nature. It's going to be dying as it approaches central Texas. So I think most of us will still stay dry overnight tonight. And temperatures today back into the 80s around 10 o'clock. We'll get the 90s going after the lunch hour. And the dew points will stay in the 60s, so just a little bit sticky out there this afternoon compared to yesterday. But the good news is breezes will stay out of the south at about 10 to 20 miles per hour with high temperatures in the mid-90s, 95 for Bryan College Station and 94 for Waco. Once again, this continues into tomorrow. There's that slight chance for an overnight shower to our west, but then we stay dry for Saturday. Sunday, I think we'll stay dry as well, but we'll leave another 20% chance. These chances all next week, Joe, they're going to stay isolated because not everyone's going to see rain, and we might have some weak cold fronts that try to clip in some showers and thunderstorms during the overnight hours. So I still think the pool forecast is going to stay pretty good, not just for today, but also throughout next week. We'll be up to about 93 this afternoon there. And so it's going to stay pretty pleasant, I think, here across central Texas.
You had me at cold fronts. You said that about 15 seconds ago. I stopped listening after that. So, all right. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate that. Good Morning Texas continues in 3 minutes, as well as this cold front discussion with Jordan. We're going to find out how cold. Coming up next. You're watching Good Morning Texas. Waco's Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting today. Sierra Shipley joins us live with what will be discussed. Plus, could it be business as usual for this year's state fair? What the fair has said so far and when it could make a final decision. And as the country's economic recovery continues, a record number of stores still expected to shutter their doors. It's Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Good Morning Texas continues right now. Continued calls for justice in the case of Michael Dean, an unarmed black man shot and killed by a Temple police officer. Thanks for joining us this Thursday morning. I'm Joe Gum. That now former officer Carmen DeCruz faces charges of second-degree manslaughter. On Wednesday, Michael Dean's brother spoke exclusively to 25 News, saying DeCruz got off the hook way too easily.
I think that Carmen DeCruz charge should be upgraded, though. That's my main concern right now, because manslaughter is just like a slap on the wrist. You do the crime, but you don't do the time.
DeCruz resigned from the Temple Police Department following his arrest in February. The ongoing protests surrounding police brutality and systemic racism adding increased significance to this year's Juneteenth celebrations. The Syntex African Chamber of Commerce and community partners set to hold a parade celebration in Waco. The parade starts at 10 a.m. Saturday. All participants and attendees are encouraged to wear masks and maintain social distancing. If you don't wish to attend in person, not to worry. The parade will be broadcast live starting at 10:15 on the Waco City Cable channel. It will also be live streamed on the city's Facebook page. Target, Best Buy, and U.S. Bank are the latest companies to adopt Juneteenth as a company holiday. It comes as many corporations make internal changes due to the ongoing protests nationwide. The June 19th holiday celebrates the emancipation of African Americans from slavery. Now, some folks are just now learning about Juneteenth, even though the holiday actually began here in Texas. Freedom Day happened on June 19th, 1865. That's when the Emancipation Proclamation was read in Texas, notifying slaves that they were free. The Civil War had been over for weeks, but news didn't travel as fast back then. It took 2,000 Union troops coming to Texas to force reluctant slave owners to comply with the proclamation. Many tourists take pilgrimage to Galveston in honor of the historical moment. All right, switching gears here, turning now to a developing story we first brought you last night at 10, a second person arrested in the death of 2-year-old Frankie Gonzalez, the toddler whose body was found in a dumpster 2 weeks ago. Police have arrested Lorenzo Gonzalez, Frankie's father, for abandoning and endangering a child. That's a second-degree felony. Records show Lorenzo had signed an official agreement stating he would not leave the children unsupervised with Frankie's mother. But Waco PD says the father did just that, intentionally leaving the kids alone with Laura Sanchez in violation of that agreement. At the beginning of the month, Waco police received a call regarding a missing child. Laura Sanchez told officers her 2-year-old son Frankie went missing in Cameron Park. On June 2nd, another family member contacted police saying Sanchez had confessed. Officers questioned Sanchez, who told them Frankie was dead in a dumpster. That's where authorities found Frankie's body wrapped in several trash bags. Now for the latest in the fight against coronavirus, as reported infections are on the rise in 21 states. 10 states are seeing a more than 15% jump in new cases, including South Carolina, Alabama, and West Virginia. Florida, Arizona, and Texas have also set records for new cases in recent days. Hospitalizations are hitting new highs in Arizona and Texas, although Governor Abbott stressed Tuesday we still have some 15,000 hospital beds available statewide. Your blood type could factor into how likely you are to get COVID-19 and even how sick it could make you. Scientists found people with type A blood are 45% more likely to get coronavirus and to develop severe cases. People with type O blood are only 65% as likely to even get the infection. A drug that showed positive results in treating adult coronavirus patients now being tested on children. Researchers say they're starting advanced trials of remdesivir in 50 pediatric patients. The drug's maker says they will involve children with moderate to severe cases of COVID-19. The goal is to determine whether the drug is safe and how well it could work. Well, when it comes to our kids, many school districts, including Killeen ISD, are continuing to weigh their options. This after some took Governor Abbott's allowance for summer school to resume as a sign the classrooms might open in August.
In the event students and or parents don't feel comfortable returning and or we need to, for whatever reason, COVID-19 related, have the virtual platform ready to go from day one.
Killeen ISD is still uncertain if classes will start on August 17th. Well, an online petition with more than 40,000 signatures is calling on H-E-B grocery stores to force customers to wear masks. The petition reads in part, quote, according to H-E-B company representatives, the governor of Texas has not allowed local governments in Texas to legally require people in public places to wear masks. H-E-B, as a private company, is free to require customers to wear masks in their stores, regardless of whether state or local laws require it, end quote. The petition was started just a few days ago. Well, COVID-19 has impacted just about everything in our day-to-day lives. The Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization has researched data on how travel is being impacted. 25 News reporter Sierra Shipley joins us live now. And Sierra, what is Waco MPO focusing on right now?
Joe, they're focusing on three main things: the social distancing index, percent of population staying at home, and miles traveled per person. Now, they wanted to measure these topics because these numbers will ultimately decide how Waco MPO operates in the future. McLennan County was scoring as a medium-sized metropolitan area when it came to those social distancing. New York scored the highest at 71, and McLennan County scored a 49 during peak shelter-in-place orders. They're not only focusing on how travel is being impacted, but then in return how other businesses are being affected by the increase or decrease in travel.
Such as what's going to happen with brick and mortar retail, what happens with telecommuting, and that can have very significant changes in traffic volumes. So that's something we're going to be looking at longer term.
Less people on the road and more social distancing coincided with more people staying at home, and the Waco MPO averaged about 30% more people staying at home during peak COVID weeks. And now at the Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization, they're having a meeting today at 2 p.m. It will be held via conference call, and instructions on how to dial in will be on our website. If you have any questions that you would like to submit, you have to do so before 10 this morning, and you can send those questions over to mpo@wacotx.gov or by calling 254-750-5650. Now, there are a few questions they're looking to be answered in the long term. They're anxious to see if traffic volumes will bounce back to pre-COVID rates, and this is something they'll be keeping a close eye on for the next 2 years. Live in Waco, Sierra Shipley, 25 News.
Sierra, thank you. The Waco Transit System is honoring our public transportation heroes today. Waco Transit is asking everyone to simultaneously sound the horn and honk your horns at 2 p.m. to show your appreciation. It is a way to say thank you and to recognize those who have worked hard to get us from point A to point B through this pandemic. Well, despite the coronavirus pandemic, President Trump is going forward with his rally in Tulsa this weekend. Cases are rising in Oklahoma, with the state recently announcing its highest daily number of positive coronavirus cases. The rally could potentially pack 20,000 people into an indoor arena where masks will not be mandatory. Health officials say they are worried.
I mean, people coming together without taking precautions is what causes the virus to transmit. It gives the virus the ability to transmit from person to person. So, of course, we're concerned. You know, I recommended that it be postponed until it's safer.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he personally would not attend the president's rally in Tulsa because of the risks. Well, the Texas State Fair is just a few months away, and so far the fair's plan is to open the gates as normal. Large-scale events across Texas and the country have been canceled to slow COVID-19's spread, but the State Fair is currently scheduled for September 25th through October 18th. In a statement, the fair says it plans to welcome guests while implementing preventative measures recommended by the CDC. However, it says it will make an announcement concerning the status of this year's fair by late July. And happening today, Belton ISD graduates are set to walk the stage at Tiger Field. Graduates of Belton New Tech High School will walk later this morning, while Belton High School will be graduating this afternoon and evening. Parking lots for the fireworks show will open at 8:30 p.m. The fireworks show will kick off at 10 p.m. Well, time now is 5:39. Let's get another check on your 25 first alert forecast with meteorologist Jordan Evans. Nice weather for the fireworks?
I would think so, yes. Plenty of sunshine, maybe a slight chance during the overnight hours, but again, that would probably not be during the fireworks for that location. But current temperatures right now, 69 for Temple, 72 for Bryan College Station, so a couple spots are falling still. Closer to the dew point, so there might be a little bit of patchy fog trying to develop, especially along Interstate 45, but I think most of us will stay clear and just going to be rather muggy morning as we step outside. So as we talk radar, it's going to stay clear as well as high pressure continues to stay in control. But as we take you through future track, it's actually going to start to show a little bit of maybe some cloud cover as we get into the afternoon, especially to the west of I-35. This is definitely a map we have not shown you all week. The bigger story, however, is going to be maybe a complex that tries to come out of Oklahoma and maybe clip our far western counties such as San Saba and out there near Goldwaite. So if that happens, it will just be very light in nature and the showers would be dying. No severe weather expected with any of that activity tonight if it comes to central Texas. But talking temperatures this afternoon, 80 degrees around 10 o'clock, then we'll get the 90s going after lunch and we'll keep those dew points in the low to mid 60s. So feeling again a little bit sticky out there this morning, up to about the sticky category for most of us here in central Texas. This afternoon, high temperatures, 95 for Bryan College Station, 94 for Waco, 93 for Temple, Killeen, 91 for Lampasas, and 180 on the map such as Goldwaite at 89 this afternoon. But factor in the humidity, it's going to feel just a little bit hotter than the actual temperatures, feeling more like 97 for Bryan College Station, Caldwell, and Waco this afternoon. So the heat threats will still be in play. Moderate category for the feels like temperatures, and the UV index, of course, back in the extreme category. Most of us can sunburn there in about 10 minutes, so lots of sunscreen if you plan to be outside this afternoon. For the next 3 days, there's that isolated chance for an overnight shower out to our west, but then I think we stay dry staying into your Saturday. We've got better storm chances, however, in that 10-day forecast, and that starts early next week. So we'll talk about those details coming up in just minutes.
All right, Jordan, thank you. The pandemic impacting many small businesses, but also some much larger ones. We take a look at which stores are closing locations. Plus, if you're looking to enjoy a drink the next time you fly, you might be a little disappointed. Time now is 5:42 here on Good Morning Texas. Turning now to your consumer news, a record number of retail stores are expected to permanently close this year. Here's Mandy Gaither with details.
With an increase in online shopping, the coronavirus pandemic, and economic recession, as many as 25,000 retail stores across the U.S. are expected to permanently shut their doors this year, according to Coresight Research, a firm that tracks the industry. The report says so far in 2020, more than 4,000 stores have said they will permanently close, and there's an anticipation that closures will continue and set a new annual record this year as consumer confidence and demand is expected to stall in coming months, sparking additional closings. Apparel, retail, and department stores look set to have the most store closures. JCPenney, Tuesday Morning, and Pier 1 Imports have all filed for bankruptcy and announced intentions to close hundreds of stores. GNC and Victoria's Secret are closing hundreds more. More than half of the store closures are expected to come in malls. Indoor shopping malls have been struggling in recent years amid declining foot traffic and fierce competition online. Malls that lose an anchor store may have trouble keeping their remaining tenants. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
As businesses reopen and gradually expand to pre-COVID capacity, some places have begun to see an increase in cases and exposure. But what responsibility do businesses have to share COVID information? Well, 25 News investigated and found they have no legal responsibility at all. As many businesses struggle to regain their footing, they worry about telling the public when a worker catches the virus. However, public relations expert Liz Anderson says businesses should tell because it's good business.
And I think in the long run, it's going to help a business because they're transparent. And I think the public would support a business even more because they are being honest and not trying to hide anything.
At Carla Dotson's East Waco restaurant, which features outdoor seating, they follow her mama's advice. Take care of your family, take care of your customers. Well, if getting your vacation kicked off includes sipping on an adult beverage in the air, think again. Delta Airlines will not be offering alcohol on its domestic flights. It will, though, have an option on other international flights. American Airlines is following suit, though they'll still be serving the first-class passengers and on international flights. The idea is to make sure people aren't sipping on drinks too long so they can keep masks on for as long as possible. Well, changes are coming for the Rice brand Uncle Ben's. The brand and logo have long been criticized for being based on racist stereotypes. Mars Incorporated released a statement saying it's time to, quote, evolve the Uncle Ben's brand, end quote. The company said it hasn't determined specific changes or the timeline for making those changes. Well, Hong Kong Disneyland is now the second Disney park to reopen. One of the smallest Disney theme parks. It closed in January because of the pandemic. Guests are required to book reservations online to 7 days or up to that in advance in order to maintain crowd control. Upon arrival, they will have their temperatures checked and be required to wear face masks. Well, 25 News continues to show support for local businesses as they adjust to this new normal. In today's We're Open segment, Sierra Shipley shows us how the Waco Hippodrome is bringing you movie magic while also keeping you safe. Time now is 5:49, and you're watching Good Morning Texas. The Hippodrome, a Waco favorite, is back open for all movie lovers. 25 News reporter Sierra Shipley shows us how management is keeping the theaters clean for you.
It's been a while since we've been able to order the popcorn and enjoy a good movie, but the Hippodrome in Waco is making sure that when we do, it's safe.
We're having carpets, cleaned and sanitized. We were, vacuuming the walls down in the black box theaters.
Owner Casey Turner is running more than just a theater, but a bar and restaurant too.
It's like you're juggling because every one of them has different rules.
It's been tough knowing some feature films were already released on streaming websites.
Right now during movie season, which is where they're normally pushing out movies and their big blockbuster movies are normally now. And so it's kind of throwing a wrench in their plans as well as everyone else's.
But you can still catch a showing of Trolls World Tour if you want the movie theater feel, and Turner is comforted knowing you're safe doing so.
I think people are still pretty worried about coming out. But honestly, I'm not worried about coming here because I know it's like the cleanest place in town now. That's all we've been doing, so it's cleaning.
Whether you would like to sit back and enjoy a film, have lunch at the Raleigh, or hang out at the High Top, the Hippodrome is your one stop for a great night out with family and friends. Sierra Shipley, 25 News, Waco.
Well, you can find the latest showtimes on the Hippodrome's website. Well, time now is 5:54. Let's check in once again with meteorologist Jordan Evans. Is it going to be so hot that we need to go see a movie and just relax inside?
Maybe. If you're sensitive to the 90s, you don't like the humidity, it's definitely a good way to keep yourself cool. Of course, wear a mask, social distance if you plan to get outside and do that. In the meantime, look at the Extraco Eagle Eye camera over downtown Waco. Beautiful sunrise taking shape, and we can see the waning crescent moon that's still up in the sky, and we'll get into new moon phase here as we get into the first day of summer on June 21st. Mostly clear skies right now. However, temperatures in the 70s, but dew points in the upper 60s, so a little bit muggy too as we step outside this morning. For the next 6 hours, we'll get those temperatures back into the low 70s here in the next hour or so, and then mid 70s back by 8 o'clock. We'll get the 80s going here just after 10 this morning. We'll get the 90s, of course, probably back in that forecast as we get after the lunch hour. But for most of us to start the morning, a couple upper 60s on the map, 70 for Centerville and 72 in Bryan-College Station. And as we take you through Future Track, a map we have not shown you in a couple days just because it's been so hot and dry, lots of high pressure. But as we talk about it, a little bit of cloud cover maybe to the west of I-35 this afternoon. The bigger story we're going to be watching is maybe a complex that's dying out of Oklahoma, and it may clip some of our far western counties. But I think most of central Texas still overall will stay dry tonight, tomorrow, likely through Saturday. Maybe some isolated chances start to come back in as we get into your Sunday. As we talk temperatures today, we'll back up into the 80s around 10 o'clock, and we'll get those 90s going later this afternoon, as I mentioned before. So high temperatures back into the mid-90s, 94 for Waco, 95 for Bryan-College Station. You factor in that humidity, and it will start to feel probably more like 96 to 97 for some of us here in central Texas. So just keep that in mind this afternoon. Thanks to high pressure still in control, there's that upper level low off to the east where they've had several flash flooding events out in the Carolinas. That will continue to exit through the weekend, but for us, high pressure still sticks around. But notice how we start to be on the eastern side of it. So that will actually bring isolated storm chances back into this 10-day forecast, and it all starts for your Sunday. There's that slight chance overnight for our western counties, but the bigger story would be Sunday into Monday. Still only about 20%, Joe, so not everyone's going to see rain, but if you do, definitely a nice piece of relief for central Texas.
All righty, thank you, Jordan. We're following several stories this morning, and updates are straight ahead in minutes. Time now is 5:56, and you're watching Good Morning Texas, and of course, we appreciate it here on this Thursday. Coming up this hour, another arrest in the death of little Frankie Gonzalez, the family member who is now in custody, and the charges against them. And a call to wear face masks in public. The grocery chain getting pressure that already has almost 45,000 signatures in that petition. Plus, the Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization tracking driving habits during this pandemic. Sarah Shipley is live with those results. It's Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Good Morning Texas continues in just 30 seconds. A second person arrested in the death of 2-year-old Frankie Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us here on this Thursday at 6. I'm Joe Gum. You might remember that Frankie was the toddler whose body was found in the dumpster earlier this month. Police have arrested Lorenzo Gonzalez, Frankie's father, for abandoning and endangering a child. That's a second-degree felony. Records show Lorenzo had signed an official agreement stating he would not leave the children unsupervised with Frankie's mother. But Waco PD says the father did just that, intentionally leaving the kids alone with Laura Sanchez in the violation of that agreement. At the beginning of the month, Waco police received a call regarding a missing child. Laura Sanchez told officers her 2-year-old son, Frankie, went missing in Cameron Park. On June 2nd, another family member contacted police saying Sanchez had confessed. Officers questioned Sanchez, who told them Frankie was dead in a dumpster. That's where authorities found Frankie's body wrapped in several trash bags. Frankie was laid to rest in a private ceremony on June 9th. All right, switching gears here. Earlier this week, the hashtag racism at Texas A&M University feels like was one of the top trending topics nationally. Students past and present used the hashtag to share their experiences of racism as the school continues to address the topic. Students are continuing to voice their racism concerns as they work on getting the university's attention.
Yeah, I just hope that there will be more student involvement as well. I hope more students will speak up.
Chancellor John Sharp released a statement late Wednesday afternoon saying that what he has seen on social media is heartbreaking and unacceptable. Students say the responses they are seeing from the university is the first step. They hope to continue the conversation when they return in the fall. As the university pushes for more diversity in the student body, 25 News wanted to know about the demographics of the faculty and staff. Here's the breakdown currently. African Americans and Asian staff each make up just over 7% of the 7,300 positions. Hispanic staff members are at 15%, and white staff members hold the majority of positions at 66%. In the meantime, A&M President Michael Young has created both a task force and commission to review race relations and historic representations on campus. This will include a review and recommendation about the much debated Sul Ross statue, among other monuments. Both the task force and commission will include current and former students, faculty, staff, and relevant subject matter experts. Well, the Boy Scouts are introducing diversity and inclusion badges. In a statement, the organization says Eagle Scouts will be required to get that badge. The Boy Scouts will also be taking a closer look at any way they've perpetuated racism in the past. The first black members joined in 1911, but they were called Special Troops. It wasn't until after the Civil Rights Act passed that the organization fully integrated. Well, happening today, over 800 Belton ISD graduates will walk the stage at Tiger Field. Belton New Tech School will graduate in the morning, and Belton High will graduate this afternoon and evening. The ceremonies will be live streamed on the district's website. The celebrations will continue all day with a fireworks show at 10 p.m. For more information, you can visit the district's Facebook page. Well, happening also this weekend, the Texas State Softball Championship is coming to the Brazos Valley. The tournament will host 96 softball teams. Several COVID-19 safety measures are in place to keep everyone safe. The tournament starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday. Games will take place at Veterans Park, Central Park, and Bede Creek Park in College Station, as well as Bryan Regional Athletic Complex in Bryan. Well, let's check in right now with First Alert meteorologist Jordan Evans. Time now at 6:05. And Jordan, what kind of weather can we expect for that tournament?
I think we can expect a little bit more of the same from yesterday, except humidity is going to be up just a little bit more this afternoon, so we'll get temperatures feeling maybe a degree or two higher than what you'll actually see on your thermometer in your car there or something. But temperatures right now, 73 for Waco. Temple down into the upper 60s, just like Groesbeck and Fairfield. Bryan College Station at 71 degrees right now. Track and dew points, pretty muggy as you step outside with lots of mid to upper 60s, and that will continue through the afternoon, but they might drop just a little bit as we get into that afternoon forecast. But let's take you through future track, and this is a map we haven't shown you in at least a week, just because high pressure has been dominating. It's been pretty sunny and dry for most of us, but we'll track a few afternoon clouds to the west of I-35, but then for overnight, there could be a dying complex out of Oklahoma. That may clip our western counties, so places like Goldthwaite or San Saba may get a brief shower tonight, but no severe weather, nothing crazy or heavy. In fact, most of this will be dying. In fact, most of central Texas, too, will stay dry as we get into that overnight forecast. So temperatures hour by hour back into the 80s around 10 o'clock. We'll get the 90s going just after the lunch hour, 93 degrees around 4 o'clock. And yes, dew point staying in the 60s, so we'll keep it a little bit sticky out there later this afternoon. Today's high temperatures, 94 for Waco, 95 for Bryan College Station, 93 for Temple and Killeen, and we got 180 on the map for this afternoon at Goldthwaite, where it will be 89 degrees. Factor in the humidity, it starts to feel more like mid to upper 90s, 97 feeling like there in Bryan College Station and Caldwell, feeling like 97 for Waco, and feeling like 96 for Temple. In fact, some of these numbers could get up near the triple-digit territory as we get into the weekend too. But the UV index, of course, that will be peaking on the heat threat map here, as it will peak at the extreme category during the early afternoon. So make sure you have on that sunscreen if you plan to be outside today, and really for tomorrow too. We'll leave that slight chance there in that isolated forecast for overnight hours, but in the meantime, we're talking about several storm chances potentially starting this weekend, going to next week. Right now they're looking isolated, but at least it's better than nothing, because we are now several days without any rain here in central Texas. So we'll talk about those details coming up in just minutes.
The Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization is seeing a change in driving patterns due to COVID-19. 25 News reporters here simply joins us now live to talk about that information that they have gathered and how that will help them in the future. What are the results, Sierra? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. They measured 3 important factors: the social distancing index, percent of population staying at home, and miles traveled per person. Now, between the months of March and May, miles traveled per person dropped by 43%. On average, we were only traveling 22.8 miles per person then. And taking things like this is important for them because it helps with future projects and travel plans for the city of Waco. Although people were traveling less, Chris Avila, the director of the Waco MPO, says there were more cases of speeding in that area.
And a lot more crashes involving speed. And of course, speed, the faster you go, if you get in trouble, the results are a lot more severe. So that was a concern to us.
Another important thing to note is that toward the middle of April, travel started to pick back up even though businesses were still closed at the time. Travel continued to rise until the beginning of this month when it started to slow back down. Now, the Waco Metropolitan Planning Organization is having a meeting today at 2 p.m. It will be held via conference call, and instructions on how to dial in will be on our website. If you have questions you would like to submit, you can do so before 10 this morning. Questions need to be sent to mpo@wacotx.gov or by calling 254-750-5650. Now, in their meeting, they'll be discussing the data that they found and those impacts from COVID-19. They'll also be working towards approving a few resolutions regarding their transportation plan. Live in Waco, Sierra Shipley, 25 News.
All right, Sarah, thank you. The Waco Transit System is honoring our public transportation heroes today. Waco Transit is asking everyone to simultaneously sound the horn and honk your horns at 2 p.m. to show your appreciation. It's a way to say thank you and to recognize those who have worked hard to get us from point A to point B through this pandemic. As COVID-19 cases continue to spike in the Lone Star State, an online petition is growing demanding grocery stores to force customers to wear face masks. One petition for H-E-B supermarkets has more than 44,000 signatures. According to a company spokesperson, H-E-B is following local ordinances and is strongly encouraging customers to wear face coverings. Employees are required to wear masks. Meanwhile, in Bexar County, officials are imposing a new mask rule for local businesses, saying they must require employees and customers to wear them if social distancing isn't possible. Governor Abbott says local governments can't push fines or penalties on people who don't wear masks in public. But Judge Nelson Wolf's order states that until the end of the month, businesses must require masks or risk a fine of up to $1,000.
We believe that it's within the confines of his emergency order. I'm not sure what his reaction will be, but we hope that he'll be supportive of what we've done.
Earlier this week, 9 mayors from Texas's biggest cities wrote a letter to Governor Abbott asking if he would grant them the authority to mandate facial coverings in their own cities. Well, summer school is in session with children attending classes with others in person, but with a spike in COVID-19 cases, there's now uncertainty about returning to classes in the fall. Plus, new developments on the topic many of you are concerned about after our reports on telehealth and insurance coverage. 25 News reporter Aaron Heft has the latest. Time now is 6:11 here on Good Morning Texas. New details are emerging from the helicopter crash that killed basketball legend Kobe Bryant and 8 others. In preliminary documents, the National Transportation Safety Board says weather and visibility were a concern. Documents also suggest that before the chopper crashed, the pilot appeared disoriented by fog. Investigators say the pilot may have misperceived the pitch and roll angles. Investigators are still working to determine the exact cause of that crash. Well, happening this weekend, a barbecue fundraiser to help in the search for missing Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillen. The fundraiser is on Saturday from 1 until 5 p.m. at the Moss Rose Community Center in Killeen. The plates will be available by drive-through or pickup only to maintain social distancing. Each plate will be $10. For more details, you can text the number on your screen. While only a few states have allowed in-person summer school, there is still a lot of uncertainty on whether students can return in the fall. Many school districts around Texas are weighing their options, including Killeen ISD. The district is working on a virtual plan for the fall as well as a hybrid plan. They will be ready to go from day one if plans have to change. Killeen ISD also launched a survey this week to get feedback from parents and the community before making any decisions.
It's a 52-question survey. It takes about 12 to 15 minutes. We're going to be able to disaggregate the data and look at it by level, by grade level, parents, students, staff members, and really take a deep dive as to what do we feel like is going to be the optimal return modality for all involved parties.
The goal is for students to be able to return to campuses on August 17th. Dr. John Kraft says the Board of Trustees will decide a course of action after evaluating the results of the survey and using the guidance of state and national officials. Well, our coverage continues of the changing on telehealth mental health coverage across Texas by multiple insurance providers. The changes come after COVID-19 addendums were put into effect. 25 News reporter Aaron Haft joins us now with the new guidelines proposed by Texas Health and Human Services. Aaron, good morning. What did you find out?
Good morning, Joe. Yes, the drafted policy that's open to the public is considered narrow by many mental health professionals, and they intend to make themselves heard. Now, the executive director of the Texas Counseling Association, Jan Fries, explained the association will be posting an action alert. This comes as the Texas Health and Human Services Commission has posted new rules regarding telehealth that the Counseling Association wishes were more inclusive.
The way the rules are posted right now, we find them to be very restrictive as opposed to expansive. So again, reach out, if you're a mental health provider, reach out to your professional association to get more information about how you can submit comments on those rules, and then also how you can engage in communication with the governor and the Texas Department of Insurance.
Now, in the coming days, the action alert will be posted by the association, but in the meantime, professionals and the public alike can review that drafted policy in a link in this story on 25 News. I'm Aaron Haft, 25 News, Waco.
Aaron, thank you. And for more than 2,400 confirmed cases of COVID-19 across Central Texas and the Brazos Valley, there are more than 1,000 of those. They're active. Brazos County reporting 507 active cases, Bell 366, McLennan 86, Coryell 38, Limestone 15, Milam 14, and Robertson County is reporting 10 active cases. Across Texas, there are more than 31,000 active cases and more than 1.4 million nationwide. Globally, there are more than 3.8 million active cases. Well, 3 companies are being targeted by the FDA for selling unapproved at-home coronavirus tests. All 3 are blood tests, which the FDA says are illegal because they haven't been shown to safely or accurately screen for COVID-19. The only at-home tests approved are saliva kits that are then brought to a healthcare professional to be read for results. The companies have until the end of the week to inform the FDA how they'll correct their actions. Happening this weekend in Killeen, the city is hosting 2 mobile COVID testing sites. Testing is free but limited. The sites will be open from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Friday's testing will be at Jackson Professional Learning Center, and Saturdays will be at the First Church of God in Christ. The addresses for both are listed on your screen. To make an appointment, you can call 512-883-2400 or visit txcovidtest.org. Well, with more protests happening across the country comes a bigger budget for Black Lives Matter. Coming up at 6:30, details of the global financial impact demonstrations are having. And an Olympic-style move by a decorated Olympian that's going viral. See it next. Time now, 6:19. You're watching Good Morning Texas. Well, even though the 2020 Summer Olympics aren't happening for another year, gymnast Simone Biles isn't on vacation. The most decorated Olympic gymnast ever is practicing a new skill, and it's one that's never been done before. As you can see in the video, it's from Biles' Twitter page showing her attempt of a triple twisting double back flip. While she continues to train for the Tokyo Games, this move will not be in her routine. The Gymnastics International Governing Body says it is too dangerous. And what do you think about that, Jordan?
Dangerous.
Yeah, it looks
Exactly.
dangerous for
It
us.
looks dangerous for us.
It's easy for her.
You put me upside down and it's going to be a mess. But
I
hey,
hurt my back just getting off this chair.
You know, Joe, it's time
to do a double backflip because we're announcing our Good Morning Texas mug winner, and that is Ron Carmichael. Ron, you don't have to do any type of flip to get this.
Yeah.
We will let you know how you can pick this up. If you didn't win today's Good Morning Texas mug, well, guess what? You have another chance. We do it 5 times a week. Just go to kxxv.com/contest, click the mug, and enter your email address. We're giving away a mug every weekday morning from 5:30 until 6:30. Join us to see if you are truly a winner. All right, Jordan, checking out today's forecast. What can we expect?
Well, first of all, Joe, with the mug, just don't drink too much coffee where you might start to shake it a little too much and then it starts to be messy, because that's what I was feeling. I was handing it off to our floor director. I was like, I've had too much coffee this morning already.
But here's the thing, with enough coffee, you might be able to do a triple backflip.
There you go, but I won't say so. But hey, anyway, talking temperatures right now in the Extraco Eagle Eye. Look at the sun coming up over McLean Stadium as we get into the approaching 6:30, and we see temperatures in the 60s and 70s right now. And across the region, that's pretty much the case. 74 for Houston, 76 in San Antonio, as well as up in Dallas. And we're going to keep those temperatures probably up back into the 90s for most of central Texas and probably most of the state too throughout the rest of the day. Future track will keep some clouds to the west of I-35, but maybe a little complex tries to clip our western counties during the overnight hours, but most of us still staying dry going into your Friday and through the weekend too. Temperatures hour by hour back up to the 80s around 10 o'clock. We'll get 90s after the lunch hour. Dew points will stay in the 60s throughout the afternoon, so it'll feel just a little bit more sticky out there as we get into that afternoon forecast. As humidity continues to filter back into the state, we'll also keep those breezes out of the south at about 20 miles per hour too. High temperatures 94 for Waco, 95 for Bryan College Station. Factor in the humidity, feels like 97 for some of those spots and mid-90s for most of central Texas. But for tomorrow, there's that slight chance for our western counties during the overnight hours. But temperatures 94 for your Friday and Saturday, back up to 95 for your Saturday, 96 for your Sunday, maybe feeling like triple digits there Monday and Tuesday, but isolated chances will still be in play. I still think the pool weather, Joe, is going to look good, not just for today, but most of next week. If you get caught under a shower, it should only last there about 20 minutes. That's definitely some good news as we talk about that pool forecast. But, you know, that's something I'll probably still be doing this afternoon.
Talking about refreshing, you're in the pool and you're getting rain. That's not bad.
Well, as long as there's no thunder. Remember, if you hear thunder, when the thunder roars, go indoors. But if it's just rain, definitely.
If the thunder rolls, it's a Garth Brooks song. Right?
Yeah, the thunder rolls.
Yeah. But thank you. We don't want to joke, obviously, about thunder, but yeah, mighty refreshing, getting the pool and then rain. We love that. Kids love playing in the rain. Hey, Jordan, thank you. The Texas State Fair is less than 100 days away. Sometimes there's rain in that, and that could spoil that. But will the fair even be opening its gates in the fall? That's the big question now, what fair organizers are saying. Plus,